like page 437, him trying to write some songs that were atonal. But you can see at the very bottom, first measure, he's even got an E flat, B flat, E flat in the left hand. So he's inferring an E flat major triad there.
With a G natural.
Yeah. But it's hard to do. The same way, I can remember saying, if you go to a piano and you just randomly play notes, sometimes I'd make a chord. I'm trying to make a cacophony, but I play piano enough that my fingers just make chords when I go like this. So I actually have to stop and say, no, don't make a chord. Do something else. So that's kind of what was happening. So he came up with this system. And he had a bunch of rules for it. So if you look at page 439, this is the famous setting of poems called Pierre Lunaire. It's a series of poems about someone who goes crazy. So it was perfect for atonal music. But you can see the cello, he would label these. Schoenberg actually labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. But later they found that for purposes of finding variations on this, it would be easier to start the first one, call it patient 0 instead of 1. We'll see why.
What do those X's mean?
Oh, that's Sprechstimme. Schoenberg, it's half singing, half speaking.
Oh.
So you estimate the pitches, but it's more speech than singing, but not pure speech. You might go, Schmerzen oft den Alter meiner Wehr. So it's almost like I'm speaking, but you hear me go up and down, but I'm not singing. It's not Sprechstimme is called speech singing.
So people are talking with notes and all
Yes.
that.
A lot of composers pick that up. There it is at the page 440, Sprechstimme. An approximate pitch of a spoken word, so it's just approximate. So he invents his 12-tone row. There's an example on page 441, the Fünf-Klavierstücke, 5 piano pieces. This one's a waltz, but you will not want to dance to it. I think this is on the CD.
Now he's not counting if you use the enharmonic?
No, a C sharp and a D flat are the same thing. So as far as the accidental, he just writes whichever one's easiest for the performer to play. So once you have a C sharp, you can't have a D flat until it's the C sharp's turn. I don't have a number on this one. I don't have the number on this one, so I don't know which number to bring up. But page 442, these are his rules. Pitch class means E sharp, F, and G double flat are all the same pitch. So it doesn't matter how you write it, they're all considered the same. To order numbers, the location of a given pitch class in the row. So 0 to 11. The pitch class number, that would be the distance in half steps. And then he has a series of rows on page, rules. On page 443, his string quartet, there's the row, D, C sharp, A, B flat, F, E flat. He bases the whole thing on this row. And as you can hear, it's not supposed supposed to sound tonal. There isn't a note that's emphasized. But underneath it, you can see the numbers. 0, what he does is he takes across the first violin, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then he takes 3, 4, 5 and makes the first harmony with that. And then 6, 7, 8 is the next beat of harmony. And 9, 10, 11 is the next beat of harmony. So he's overlapping the rows, making harmony with it. On page 445, once you pick a row, his rules say that you could play it backwards, you could invert it, or you could turn it upside down. So this chart is how you would come up with the different versions. So the original row would be P0 across, and then P1 is the row transposed up a half step, and P5 is transposed 5 half steps, until you've transposed it to all the different half steps. And then if you read from the top down, that's all of the different transposed inversions. And if you read it from right to left, that's the retrograde. That's it backwards. And if you read it from the bottom to the top, that's a retrograde and an inversion. So the idea that you're just doing the same 12 tones over and over again, he's saying, no, there are a lot of different possibilities you can transpose it, as long as once you get an idea, it's the same, you're not repeating the notes. These are, of course, pretty hard to analyze. You have to kind of try to trace the 12-tone row.
And the other two rows are the same.
They have exactly the same formula, but they're transposed. He came up with the rules. 2 of his students actually worked a little bit more kind of perfecting it. That would be Webern and Baird, also from Vienna, from Austria. Baird wrote an atonal opera, Wozzeck, which was about, historically, Wozzeck was a real person who was the first person ever found not guilty by reason of insanity for murder in Germany. Because a doctor was experimenting, giving him hallucinatory drugs, and he didn't know it, and he ended up killing someone, and he was the first person not guilty by reason of insanity. He never came out of the insanity, the drugs made him insane. But Wozzeck, Baird wrote an opera, Wozzeck, and he changed the ending. At the end of the opera, Wozzeck kills himself, drowns himself in water. But I sang in Wozzeck, I was part of the chorus, and I thought I'm never going to be able to learn and memorize 12-tone, atonal music. It's completely atonal. And I did, because it was such good music. I was really surprised. I went to the rehearsals thinking, no way I'm going to be able to do this. We're making these chords that are awful sounding. And I would sing the tenor through, and I'd go, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And eventually, I was not worried at all when we got to the performance. I knew it. I think I spent more time on the German than I did the pitches. So it just goes to show you, when you make good music is good music. Other things after serial composition, if you look at page 463, this is the avant-garde. This is Stockhausen. He just died very recently. This guy, I bet you've heard me talk about him. Stockhausen was like, in Europe they thought he was a living Beethoven. And Americans never heard of this guy. We just think his stuff sounds like cacophony. But he wrote this piece. Everyone plays the same tone. Leave the tone wherever your thoughts lead you. Do not leave it. Always return to the same. That's the piece. So you interpret it, however you're going to interpret it.
So it's almost like a solo feature? Or
Yeah,
just
you're improvising the actual music. He's just giving you direction. on page 460.